really bad at love, and you're listening to Steve Hughes here on Life Matters. My special guest, Riel Peterson. We're talking about sales, specifically videos and webinars. Now, we touched on videos. They're under a minute, powerful, impactful call to action, which drives people towards a website or a webinar or a concept or whatever campaign you're running in your business. But you were saying about the webinar, that it's something which can be pre-recorded.
Yep. It's called evergreen.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
So once again, for the people that don't want to do manual labor, you pre-record your, what we used to refer to as the elevator pitch. So the things that drive clients to a further conversation for you. So in a webinar, you would discuss the challenge with a PowerPoint presentation. Very clear. This is the challenge. This is what you're going to learn in the webinar today. And boom, 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 you go through 5 or 6 very well scripted PowerPoint or keynote presentations, photo in the corner. It's recorded over a platform like Zoom, and you upload that to your website.
You know, it's so interesting because I've always been obsessed with understanding passive income. So I've done a lot of network marketing concepts or other similar business from home concepts, and they have these log in at this time and book your seat at this time, and you're going to have a webinar. And after about 3 minutes, you realize that it's a pre-recorded thing, that they've just run on certain time frames.
Absolutely.
Very, very clever. Because it makes you
can
feel
do
like
live, like we said.
too much problems. So
I do live when I do training.
Yes, training works.
Absolutely.
But if you're selling a concept,
interaction,
don't.
but you want to have your elevator pitch or your value proposition on autopilot, and you want to put it in front of people that want to look at it and have that specific problem at that specific time.
Okay, so the next question I've got for you is, what are the mechanics that my webinar must have? Are there any specific do's and don'ts?
They are. I mean, to take you through it, initially, you got to introduce yourself. It's like any presentation. You're Steve Hughes from XYZ, and today you're going to discuss this challenge, how to overcome this challenge. In our organization, we overcome prospecting and marketing and sales challenges. You talk them through 5 or 6 points that you're going to handle for them in the webinar. So I'm going to deal with these 5 points, and you tell people from the start who should be listening to this webinar. So if you're a sales guy, a consultant, a coach, a business advisor, you should be listening to this webinar to make sure that people are in the right place and they didn't click on an ad that has no relevance to them.
Okay.
Then you go into the detail. So if you give a 5-step process of solving your tax returns, give them just the basics of how to solve that problem. Step number 1 is do this and look out very carefully for this. Step number 2 is this. Step number 3, step number 4. At the end, you have your call to action to say, for those guys that want more information, or for those guys that cannot solve this problem for themselves, book a call with me and I'll talk you through it.
And have a thread throughout, sort of, if it's a 30-minute conversation, every 5 minutes, say, if you've missed that little bit, don't forget, at the end of this podcast, we'll be giving you all the contact details where you can book a time one-on-one with me.
Because
and you
people
keep
fall
the
off.
thread. Exactly.
People fall off after 5 minutes and 10 minutes and 15 minutes. The beauty about this, Steve, is you've got, number 1, you attract the right crowd because you can put advertising in front of people very targeted over specialized products like Facebook and LinkedIn and all the platforms like Google and Gmail and YouTube. You can hit the entire market. Only those people that want to engage with you at that specific time, that sees the video or sees the ad, will click through to the webinar. Now you're qualifying people over the webinar because you're saying, if you do this and you do that and you've got this challenge, you're at the right place. If you don't have that challenge, you're not the right place. People go away.
Yeah.
And you start having conversations. We discussed it now. For our specific business, we generate about 80 of these interactions on a monthly basis. There's probably 300 people that watch the webinar. I have 80 interactions. I disqualify a further 30 or 40 people on the phone to say, I'm not the guy.
Sure.
But the rest that I take on board, I know is the perfect client for us that I can help, that I can add value to. And you have to say.
You pre-qualified it through all of that process. Stunning. Thank you very, very much. So if someone wants to go out and have a look at an example of a webinar that you've done and also some video, where can they go?
I think the sales flow one is the easiest, www.salesflow.co.za.
Okay, and if they want to find
Follow
out
the
more about you
process.
personally?
It'll be on there. They
All
can
the
watch the
contact
webinar. All the
details as well?
information's on there. Go through the process.
Yes.
Test the process for yourself. At the end, there's a call to action. Put up a call with them.
It's
Very
so
simple.
powerful. You know what, I can't wait to sort of get my head out of my posterior to actually go and get my white paper done.
Steve, I need to say this.
Yes.
Here's the
Please do.
problem. Here's the challenge, and this is the frustrating part. People are not prepared to put in the effort that it takes initially to set this up. It's a lot of brainstorming, it's a lot of work, you got to conceptualize, you got to get it out, you got to record these things. But once you've done it, you never have to do it again. People start coming to you.
Okay, so you don't have to sort of every 3-4 months do a new one. It's
Unless
set and
legislation
forget.
changes or anything, you can run for a year, you can run for 2 years.
Sure.
If your offering stays the same.
Wow. Okay, and powerful stuff. So if anybody wants to get information from you, salesflow.co.za, your contact details, I presume, is going to be on there.
Everything on there.
Powerful. There's going to be a podcast of this show going up on the Mixcloud account and on my Facebook. And if you want to find out more, just email me lifematters@1fm.co.za. Next month, what can we look forward to? What's
More
it-
rain.
From you, young man. What's the next
How
topic?
to automate the process over social media platforms.
Beautiful.
So we're going through the process. Eventually, the last step is to automate it.
Is next session the last one?
It would be to automate. We've skipped a couple of things with you that you don't need, that most people don't do, that people don't want.
Do you think we
So
should maybe talk a little bit about
we
that?
can touch on
Maybe later.
a couple of things.
You're
but
just trying to get out of driving for a while,
no,
aren't you?
I'm trying to get straight to the point without wasting time. I know people are busy, so let's get to the point.
My friend, thank you very, very much for being
Thank
a
you,
part of the
Steve.
show once again. I look forward to the next session.
Always nice to add value.
Keep it
Thank
locked
you,
on
Steve.
to 1FM 94.0. Coming up after this, D.T. Anson with his 6th session in the playbook. Is it 7th? We'll figure out just after this. Keep it locked on.